Welcome back. For our top domestic story this hour, let's follow up on news we reported earlier in the week. Amazon's decision to split its second headquarters between New York and Northern Virginia. After a months-long competition between 20 final locations vying for the company's attention, Amazon announced on Tuesday it will establish the new offices in Long Island City, New York, and Crystal City, Virginia. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said Amazon will, quote, open doors for city residents while celebrating the news.
I want to put this in human terms so that everyone understands what this means for New York City, because I hear every day New Yorkers, folks who live in public housing saying, where can I get a job? Where can I get opportunity? Kids who are in our public schools who want to get into the tech community. Students at CUNY, students who just graduated from CUNY who are looking for that opportunity. This is going to open the doors for all of them.
However, as we've discussed here on In Question before, not everyone is excited by the developments. Journalist David Sirota voiced outrage on Twitter over the fact that, according to an agreement between Amazon and New York's Urban Development Corporation, city taxpayers will fund a helipad for CEO Jeff Bezos. While tech reporter Benjamin Freed highlighted that Virginia's deal with Amazon stipulates it, quote, will give the company written notice about any FOIA requests to allow the company to seek a protective order or other appropriate remedy. Paul Blumenthal of the Huffington Post added, quote, love how Virginia's pitch for Amazon included this section on doing corruption, noting the Commonwealth touted Crystal City's strategic location near the government and regulators as well as think tanks. The document reads, quote, as Amazon is poised to drive its business in a number of areas that will require complex federal regulatory oversight, proximity to key stakeholders, including the Federal Aviation Administration, the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Communications Commission, the Food and Drug Administration, and congressional committee leadership will prove vital. Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam expressed excitement over the prospects of developing, quote, a world-class model for public-private partnership.
The announcement today to embark on this new and significant partnership with Amazon will only build upon our legacy of collaboration with the company. Innovation is the lifeblood of our Commonwealth, and it is the driving force of Amazon's work. Together, we will think big, create a world-class model for public-private partnership, and test and implement the technological solutions that will drive Amazon, our communities, and the Commonwealth forward.
With Amazon in question, I spoke earlier today with co-founder of Democracy at Work and professor of economics and international affairs, Richard Wolff. Professor Wolff, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, as you just heard, says Amazon will open doors even for residents in New York who live in public housing. Is he telling the truth?
I don't think so, and I'm very, very disappointed in Mayor de Blasio. I didn't expect much from Governor Cuomo, but I had always hoped that de Blasio was something better. This is a shocking display. What they're calling a government-private partnership is nothing of the sort. It's a public subsidy to Amazon. The New York Times reported $5 billion in this project will be invested by Amazon. $5.5 billion will be invested by New York and Virginia. That is a subsidy of more than 50% of the cost of this project. We, the taxpayers, will be either paying higher taxes to fund this private company among the richest in the world, or, if we don't get our taxes raised, the government will deliver fewer services to us because it has given this enormous subsidy to a company. $5 billion from Virginia and New York, where Mr. Bezos, the owner of Amazon, is himself the owner of $160 billion. He didn't need it. The company doesn't need it. We are being asked to subsidize. All of the profits will go to the private companies and their shareholders. We, the public, will be funding more than half of this project. Shame is what Mr. de Blasio ought to feel, rather than posing in the PR as if he has delivered something. Last point. The projected number of long-term jobs in the New York area from this is 2,500. That's a very small number and will have no effect on the unemployment problem of this city. It's just too small.
Why?
And that's not a surprise. That's not a surprise because the kind of work Amazon does is highly automated. It uses machines for 90% of what it does. And half of the people it's likely to have working in New York will be brought in from other parts of the Amazon empire. It is really a shameful hustle on the people of New York to require us as taxpayers to subsidize more than half of the cost of this project.
Why, though, are leaders like de Blasio and Cuomo so eager to invite Amazon into their cities? I mean, I'm sure you're aware of the fact they're just a few of many mayors and governors who really attempted to woo this company in very absurd ways.
Well, we allow in this country, we allow corporations, which are, by the way, institutions set up to serve the community. If you ever read a corporate charter, what they have to go through to become a corporation, they have to serve the community. Well, we're like a Frankenstein monster here. We've allowed what should be serving us to become our masters so that we compete, as you correctly say, one city against another, one state against another, begging and pleading and bribing, because that's the truth of it, with big subsidies, so the company comes here and leaves that other place. We're working against each other as public entities in America, one city against another, rather than working together. And the only beneficiary of this is the company that plays us against each other and then walks away with these humongous subsidies at public expense.
It sounds quite dysfunctional. My final question is regarding the fact that Northern Virginia touted the fact it's an important location for Amazon because of its proximity to federal regulators. Why should the government be taking a closer look at Amazon?
Well, it's an enormous company, one of the largest in the United States, with enormous revenue. Normally, the government is interested in anything that gets even half as big as Amazon is. I wish it were more interested and more careful to watch what they were doing. But as to what the governor of Virginia said, that's nonsense. Amazon has been dealing perfectly nicely with government agencies. That is done electronically with email and telecommunications. When an occasional visit is required, Amazon has more than enough revenue to get the relevant specialists to go to Washington or anywhere else. This is play acting. This is theater. What the politicians like to do is to say, look, I brought them, which isn't true, and I am helping to bring jobs. You know, that's the nice part of it. What they're costing us in the terms of the taxes they're going to use to give that rich company even more, that part they don't mention. That part isn't in the headline. So it's good PR for the politicians. It helps Amazon with an enormous subsidy, and we're supposed to be the cheerleaders when we're the ones getting fleeced.
We have to leave it there for now. Professor Richard Wolff, thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.